Well, here we are, guys. Let's talk about the insane and unexpected events of the fourth episode of Moon Knight, and specifically the ending of the episode. What exactly is going on, and what is the meaning of all of this? So the ending of this episode sees Stephen Grant as he's shot, and as he falls into the water, he fades away into blackness up until the blackness turns into light. And then we see that he, along with Layla and everybody else that's kind of been in this story, is locked up in a insane asylum, and it looks like he's just insane. And this whole story about Moon Knight hunting for the gods, everything with Arthur Harrow, that's all been made up in his head because it's actually the events and characters of everybody that's in the insane asylum, but also based on an old movie about, well, tomb raiding. Except the film is based on Mesoamerican tomb raiding, not Egyptian. So again, it brings a lot into question here. But on top of that, we see that Stephen is able to, break out of here to a degree, if you will. He's able to kind of get a hold of his body, get it back under control. He's no longer locked up in this wheelchair, and he makes a run for it after beating up the guards. He ends up going into a room where a sarcophagus opens up, and here is when we get a face-to-face confrontation of Stephen and Mark. That's right, there are two separate entities here. Now, the obvious assumption is we will get this explained in the next episode, which obviously the setup here and the hook is that. Now, on top of this, which I'm sure will cause a lot of confusion, there's probably going to be a lot of theories that are released out there. I do have my own, if you guys would like to hear them in advance, and also what I think is happening here. The audio commentary for this episode is going to be out, and there's going to be a lot to talk about. Thank you everybody for the great feedback, and you guys are absolutely loving these more than almost any of our other commentaries. But along with this, let's talk about that exact ending you saw. Yes, a giant hippo lady showed up. Now, of course, this does have a place in comics. All of this, obviously, the animal gods are very commonplace throughout history, but also in the Moon Knight comics. And along with this, the insane asylum is a thing as well, because that was recently featured in Moon Knight #1, which of course was written by Jeff Lemire, which they're pulling a lot out of. And her appearance here to me tells me that this whole asylum thing and everything is fake, that they're using this to sort of get more info and details out of Mark/Grant and trying to pull a fast one over on them. I did also notice that if you look at the walls in the insane asylum while you're looking around, you're going to notice that it looks like one of the facilities we've already seen. Sort of almost like that one where we got the action sequence with the monster that's chasing them. I think it was the second episode where he first becomes Mr. Knight. It looks almost like that, just repainted and retrofitted. So a lot happens in this. The appearance of a brand new god that clearly indicates more is at work here than we know. And it's going to be interesting to see how this all sets up what happens next and how they get out of this whole situation, which of course has to be a big factor in the next episode, setting up the finale, which we'll talk about next week.